John Elway is here, and what a great guest to segue into some of that conversation about the NFL and the state of the game right now. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
So you heard the segment before us talking about the state of the NFL. As a guy who is now deeply involved in running the operations of an NFL franchise, how do you feel things are shaping up for the game? And is it about the health and perhaps the profitability of that advertising market?
Well, I mean, I think there's always one thing about the NFL and why it's been so great for so long. It always adapts to new trends, and obviously the ratings were down a little bit last year, so they're trying to find something new as far as cutting back on the advertising and the amount of breaks. And I really believe that we're continuing to work on making the game safer too for the players. And so I think the game's as good as it's ever been. The athletes are getting better and better every year, and so I think that we'll continue to see the game get better.
There are a lot of different ways that the game is evolving right now from a viewership standpoint and from a marketing standpoint as well. We've got social media, streaming, Amazon's going to do those games. How do you think a franchise like the Broncos or any other franchise out there fits into that, and how do they kind of evolve with that changing landscape?
Well, I mean, I think, our organization and our president, Joe Ellis, and business operations, Mac Freeman, is, they're always trying to stay a step ahead and doing a tremendous job, at the team level, and then at the league level, obviously continuing to make big strides there and continuing trying everything else. As you said, we're streaming games, playing more games over in Europe, and so I think that they're always trying to look for new ways to continue to keep getting the game better. And the game is good, but as soon as you start resting on your laurels, that's when you start taking a step back. So I think one great thing about the NFL is they continue to work on trying to get better.
John, Mike Santoli here in New York. You mentioned that the league has always been good about kind of modifying rules, trying to evolve the game. Do you actually see the pendulum swinging in terms of style of play at some point, whether it's in response to rule changes further? Obviously, you have this complete emphasis now on kind of fast-paced, passing game and all the rest of it. Do you actually think any of that is set to evolve or should?
Well, I mean, I think we'll always see something. I think that's kind of been the trend over time, but it always seems to come back. And, I think we're seeing a little bit more of a trend getting back to the defensive side. Obviously, with the rule changes over the last several years, it's been towards the offense a little bit, and things have been opened up a little bit. So, I think that you'll always see it go back and forth. And I think, with the rules and where they are and really trying to protect the players a little bit more, it's opened the game up. But I think the defenses are now starting to catch up, and you may see it swing back the other way.
Mr. Elway, I was simply going to ask you, it's Kelly here. I'm looking at all the investments you've made over your career, but just the long life you've had in terms of the business world and the sports world. We love to ask people, what's the biggest money mistake you've made? What would yours be?
We lost her.
We did lose her. So I think that the whole idea of maybe talking about this was what exactly were the biggest mistakes that were made in some of those financial investments that you've made, and how can people avoid them?
Right, and I think that you're not going to be perfect in my mind when you're investing. And I think that one thing that I've learned over time is really I like to invest in people. And to me that's where there's a lot of tremendous ideas out there that can be very lucrative and make a lot of money for people. But to me, it's how those things get executed, how those ideas translate to the people that are doing it. And so therefore, I always look at the people involved. I look at the ideas, but more importantly, I like to know who's involved, who's going to do it, what kind of people they are. Are they hard workers, and how good are they at what they do? And so to me, I found that investing in people is probably the best idea I've ever had.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.